There is a financial lie that is currently bankrupting the dating lives of millions of men. It is the popular advice that tells you to never chase women and to simply let them come to you. This advice is repeated by dating coaches and influencers who claim that pursuing is a sign of weakness. They tell you that a high value man sits back and attracts effortlessly. But applying this rule when you are an average man is like telling a broke person to stop looking for a job because money should just flow to them. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the market works. We need to stop looking at dating through the lens of romance and start looking at it through the lens of economics. The dating world is a free market governed by the ruthless laws of supply and demand. In this market, you are an economic entity with a specific market value. If you do not have the leverage of a top-tier asset, you cannot dictate the terms of the transaction. The truth is that the rule of not chasing is a luxury that only the top 1% of men can afford. For the other 99%, this advice is not just useless, it is destructive. It breeds a culture of passivity that leads directly to involuntary celibacy and resentment. Let's analyze why attractive men do not need to chase and why you probably do. In economic terms, a highly attractive man has what we call passive attention income. His value in the sexual marketplace is so evident that demand naturally exceeds supply. When he walks into a room, he is like a blue chip stock that everyone wants to buy. He does not need to advertise because his reputation and visual presentation do the marketing for him. For this specific demographic, the advice to not chase is actually correct. If they were to chase, it would lower their perceived value because scarce assets do not need to beg for buyers. However, most men listening to this are not currently in that asset class. Most men are in the labor market, not the capital market. In the labor market, if you do not work, you do not get paid. If you do not actively pursue opportunities, you remain unemployed. The average man today is facing a market correction that he was never prepared for. You have been told to know your worth, but you have inflated that worth based on your ego, not on market data. The market data is brutal, but it is the only thing that matters. Open your dating apps right now and look at your inbound leads. If your inbox is empty, that is the market telling you that your current passive value is near zero. This is not an insult, it is a price signal. It means that sitting back and waiting for women to approach you is a guaranteed strategy for remaining single forever. You cannot negotiate from a position of zero leverage. We have to talk about the inflation of standards in the modern dating economy. The introduction of dating apps has created a state of hyperinflation for female attention. An average woman today has access to thousands of men at her fingertips. Her inbox is flooded with offers from men who are objectively above her league in terms of looks and status. This has distorted the market equilibrium completely. In economic terms, she is operating in a seller's market where she holds all the leverage. She can afford to be extremely picky because the supply of male attention is effectively infinite. She is bombarded with liquidity, and she can choose to invest her time wherever she pleases. For you to adopt a passive strategy in this environment is suicide. You are a small business trying to compete with Amazon without running a single advertisement. You are expecting customers to find you in a crowded marketplace purely by magic. This is why the concept of chasing needs to be rebranded immediately. We should not call it chasing, we should call it business development. Chasing implies desperation and a lack of options, which drives down your value. Business development implies a strategic, proactive effort to acquire new clients. When a sales executive picks up the phone to call a prospect, he is not chasing, he is working. He is identifying a potential lead and presenting a value proposition. If the prospect says no, he moves on to the next one without emotional damage. This is exactly how an average man must operate to survive in the current market. You must be the active agent because you do not yet have the brand power to be the passive receiver. The problem is that most men chase with the energy of a beggar rather than a salesman. They pursue from a place of scarcity, hoping that someone will take pity on them. The market smells this desperation and punishes it with rejection. Desperation is the ultimate value killer in any negotiation. To pursue effectively, you must first understand your own balance sheet. What assets are you actually bringing to the table? Are you physically fit, or is your product packaging damaged? Are you financially stable, or is your company operating at a loss? Do you have social status, or are you unknown in your industry? Improving these metrics is what we call research and development. You cannot sell a defective product no matter how good your marketing is. The gym is not just about health, it is about increasing your visual market cap. It signals discipline and genetic viability, which are high-value assets. Your wardrobe and grooming are your packaging design. People judge the book by the cover, especially when they have millions of books to choose from. Your career and ambition are your future earnings projections. Women are naturally risk-averse investors who look for stability and growth potential. If you are not investing in these areas, you are trying to sell a penny stock at the price of a tech giant. The market will always correct this discrepancy by ignoring you. Once you understand that you are in the labor market, you can stop feeling resentful about the work required. It is not unfair that you have to approach women. It is simply the cost of doing business for your tier. The attractive man has already paid his dues, either through genetics or years of prior self-improvement. He is living off the dividends of his high market value. You are still in the accumulation phase of your capital. You have to hustle to build your portfolio. This means you must initiate interactions. You must plan the dates. You must lead the conversation. You must bridge the gap between stranger and partner because she has no incentive to do it for you. She has 50 other unread messages from men who are willing to do that work. If you refuse to compete, you simply lose your market share. But here's the crucial distinction between strategic pursuing and desperate chasing. Strategic pursuing involves qualifying the customer. You are not just trying to get anyone to buy, you are looking for a qualified buyer. You approach with confidence, you present your offer, and you assess the interest level. If the interest is low, you withdraw your offer immediately. This is where the economic concept of opportunity cost comes in. Every minute you spend chasing a woman who is not interested is a minute you could have spent finding one who is. Desperate chasing ignores the signals of low interest. It tries to force a transaction where there is no demand. This destroys your dignity and lowers your market value even further. A smart businessman never begs a client to sign a contract. He presents the terms, and if the client walks, he walks. You must develop the power to walk away. This is the only leverage available to the average man. You cannot control her desire, but you can control your scarcity. By being willing to walk away, you signal that your time is a limited resource. Scarcity is one of the few drivers of value that you can manipulate instantly. Even if you are not rich or famous, you can be scarce. Do not be available 24/7. Do not respond to texts instantly if she takes hours to reply to you. Match the investment level of the other party. In economics, we call this matching the liquidity of the market. If there is no liquidity on her side, you dry up your supply. This requires a level of discipline that most men do not possess. They operate on emotion rather than logic. They fall in love with the prospect before the deal is closed. They overinvest in a single volatile asset instead of diversifying their portfolio. To succeed, you need to treat dating like a numbers game, because that is what it is. A salesman knows that he might have to make 10 calls to get one meeting. He knows he might have to have 3 meetings to get one sale. If he gets rejected on the first call, he does not go home and cry about how the market is unfair. He dials the next number. An average man needs this volume to find success. You need to increase your exposure to the market. This means approaching more women in real life. It means optimizing your dating profiles to increase your conversion rate. It means expanding your social circle to access new markets. Sitting at home and engaging in self-pity is a bankruptcy strategy. You are waiting for a bailout that is never coming. The government is not going to assign you a girlfriend. Society is not going to redistribute romantic leverage to make things fair. The gap between the dating rich and the dating poor is widening. This is the K-shaped recovery of the mating market. High-value men are doing better than ever before. Low-value men are dropping out of the market entirely. To move from the bottom of the K to the top, you need a massive injection of capital. That capital is your self-improvement and your social skills. You need to become obsessed with increasing your ROI. Every hour you spend in the gym improves your conversion rate. Every book you read improves your conversation skills, which is your sales pitch. Every dollar you earn increases your stability, which makes you a safer investment for a partner. Stop listening to women when they tell you what they want. Consumers often do not know what they want until it is presented to them. They say they want a nice guy who waits for them, but their spending habits show they buy the bold, aggressive man who takes what he wants. Look at the revealed preferences, not the stated preferences. The market data shows that assertiveness is rewarded. Passivity is punished with invisibility. There's a dangerous comfort in the don't chase advice. It protects your ego from the pain of rejection. If you never approach, you never get rejected. But in business, if you never pitch, you never close. You are trading the short-term comfort of safety for the long-term pain of loneliness. You have to accept rejection as a business expense. It is the overhead cost of finding a partner. The more rejection you can absorb, the more success you will eventually find. This is the concept of risk tolerance. High reward requires high risk. If you are risk-averse, you will settle for mediocre results. You will end up with whatever is left over after the aggressive investors have taken the best assets, or you will end up with nothing at all. Let's talk about the specific strategy for the average man to transition into a high-value man. Phase 1 is acceptance of your current market cap. Look in the mirror and rate yourself honestly without ego. If you are a 5, you cannot demand a 10 without offering massive compensation in other areas. You have to trade within your league while you build your value. There is no shame in starting with penny stocks and trading your way up. Gain experience with women who are currently in your market range. Build your confidence and your understanding of female psychology. Phase 2 is aggressive reinvestment of profits. As you get better with women, do not get complacent. Reinvest that confidence into bettering yourself physically and financially. Use the momentum to push for higher tier partners. Phase 3 is the transition to asset holder. Eventually, if you do the work, you will reach a tipping point. You will notice that you have to initiate less. You will notice women starting to give you choosing signals. This is the moment the market recognizes your increased value. Only at this stage can you begin to apply the don't chase rule. But you have to earn the right to use that rule. You cannot skip the labor phase and jump straight to the retirement phase. The biggest tragedy is seeing young men give up because they think the game is rigged. The game is not rigged, it is just highly competitive. And the barrier to entry has been raised. In the past, you just had to be employed and not an alcoholic to find a wife. Today, you have to be in the top percentile of attractiveness and status to compete on the open market. This inflation of requirements is painful, but it is the reality. You can complain about the price of goods, or you can work harder to afford them. Complaining has a 0% return on investment. Action has a positive expected value over time. Do not let the internet convince you that there is a cheat code. There is no red pill or blue pill that magically changes the market conditions. There is only supply, demand, and work. You are the supply. Women are the demand. If there is no demand for your supply, you must improve the product or improve the marketing. Improving the marketing is the pursuing. Improving the product is the self-improvement. You need to do both simultaneously. Do not wait until you are perfect to start dating. That is like waiting until the market bottoms perfectly to start investing. Time in the market beats timing the market. Get out there and interact with people. Face the awkwardness and the rejection. Call it market research. Learn what works and what fails. Refine your pitch. Adjust your strategy based on the feedback loop. The man who approaches 10 women a week will learn more in a month than the man who watches dating videos for a year. Experience is the only teacher that matters in this economy. So the next time you hear someone say, "Stop chasing and let it flow," recognize it for what it is. It is advice for the trust fund kids of the dating world. It is not advice for the self-made man you need to become. You are building an empire from scratch. That requires sweat equity. It requires late nights and early mornings. It requires getting your hands dirty. Embrace the grind of the dating market. Be proud of the fact that you are actively building your destiny. Do not envy the man who has it easy. Easy money is often lost quickly. The wealth you build through struggle is the wealth you keep. Become a student of the market. Analyze your failures without emotion. Did you fail because of your looks? Go to the gym. Did you fail because of your conversation? Practice social skills. Did you fail because of your status? Focus on your career. Every no is just data that helps you get closer to a yes. Stop taking it personally. The market is impersonal. It simply reacts to value. Become undeniable. Force the market to recognize your worth by accumulating so much value that you cannot be ignored. But until that day comes, put on your suit, pick up the phone, and get to work. You have calls to make. You have leads to follow up on. You have a business to run, and that business is your future. Do not let your company go bankrupt because you were too proud to do the sales. The economy of love is open for business 24/7, but it only rewards the active participants. The passive observers are left with the crumbs. Be the active agent in your own life. Go out there and secure your assets. This is not about romance. This is about survival. And in the free market, only the adaptable survive. End of analysis.